Hello, everybody. Welcome along to Sportsbet TV with me, Paul Alster. It is great to be back with you once again. Britain having just about survived the heat over the last week or so. I'm out in Italy once again, where it's a searing 41 degrees today, and we have no air conditioning. So as you can imagine, it is a bit of a warm one, but hopefully it'll all be worthwhile because I've spent a little bit of time overnight looking at all the racing, and I'm delighted to say I've got 4 recommendations for you for Saturday the 23rd of July, and we're going to be looking at the racing at Ascot and York. Now, first of all, thanks to all those of you that have subscribed of late, taken us above the 7,000 subscriber mark. That's brilliant. If you're new, joining me or finding me for the first time, please press the subscribe button just below this screen. Now, as regular followers will know, I'm all about tipping at decent prices, big prices very often, and we know that we have peaks and troughs, but overall it pays. It has to be said, so far this month, it's been fairly quiet. We've been hitting the woodwork a bit with placed horses, and it was the same again last week when Equilateral was placed over in Ireland. I anticipated a price of 5-1, but he was never better than 9-2 early, so that was the basis of the calculation for the place only for Equilateral. 10-1 was the recommended price for No More Porter. He ran a really good race, as I expected, in the big sprint in Ireland, finishing 3rd there, and I'm sure he's got a decent big sprint in him this season over in Ireland, and that was a profitable place. The other two, well, St. Lawrence, after I tipped it, it appeared that Tom Seagal of the Racing Post had also selected that, so his odds tumbled from those I'd suggested, but he never really managed to land a blow down at Newbury, while Withhold, in the first time headgear, the old boy, he actually ran very well for a long way, but I think he overcooked it a little bit in the early stages of the race and didn't quite see it out. So it was a losing week last week, not by a huge amount, but it'd be nice if we can get back into the black figures and start to make some ground up as we move on through the final stages of July. Well, let's take you to the first of my selections for this coming Saturday. And there is a great card over at Ascot. Of course, it features the King George VI and Queen Elizabeth Stakes. It is a terrific race with 6 brilliant runners, but I'm not tipping in that. I think it is a very, very hard one to call, and it doesn't offer any great each-way opportunities. And I invariably are looking for each-way opportunities for at least 3 places when I'm making recommendations. So on that basis, the first of my choices this week is in the 150 at Ascot, the Group 3 Princess Margaret Stakes, which is a 6-furlong event for 2-year-old fillies only. And it's often won by a pretty smart performer. Now, the favourite here is Lazoo, who's around 7-4 at the time of this recording, which UK time is, it's about just after 11 o'clock in the morning on Friday. So Rafe Beckett's filly sets the standard. She won twice before, running very well indeed to finish 2nd in a listed race, in a group race last time out, the Duchess of Cambridge Stakes. That was a Group 2. In one of her earlier races, she won a listed race at Newmarket. Minnetonka was one of those behind her, and that one is set to reoppose. I'll be surprised if it can turn the form around. Cuban Mistress is another one who's finished behind this horse as well and has another go. So that is the one that the market is built around. I've got no doubt that this filly will not be at all far away. Now, John Quinn sends Breege down. This one is rated about £9 inferior to the selection, won on debut at a Wetherby, and then had no chance with what was probably a very good winner at Pontefract last time out. But obviously they're expecting it to run well, and they'll be looking for more black type. The all-weather winner, Kinter, is 2 from 2 for George Bowie. It's a hard one to assess. It could be even better on the turf. We just don't know. So we'll have to wait and see. And I think the market might give us a guide as to what's expected from Kinter. While there are a few that have just had the one run and won their sole races, one of them is William Haggas's Royal Charter, who ran on very well indeed on debut at Newmarket, winning by a head there over 6 furlongs, and has to be respected. Another one is Rave Beckett's apparent second string, Palm Lily. And this one, a comfortable scorer on the all-weather at Kempton on debut. But my choice here is another one who is one from one, and that is the Northern Raider GLENLAUREL, who is trained by Kevin Ryan and is the mount of Andrea Adseni. Now, this filly won on her debut at Thirsk on June the 14th, and I thought it was a very eye-catching performance, even allowing for the fact that 1 and 2 in the race probably didn't run up to expectations. This filly was slowly away. She was very green in the early stages before finishing very powerfully, having travelled up well. She led at the furlong pole and moved away to score easily. Now, as I say, nothing special in that race, but the manner of the performance visually and the way she moved suggests that she could be very useful. And then you look at her pedigree and you see she's by the very successful sire Lope de Vega. And the dam is a half-sister to none other than Debarwi himself. So here we have a filly who is absolutely bred in the purple. And obviously they must have very high expectations of her. I see she's already got an entry in a Group 2 as well next month. Now this is a big step up in class, but she must have been pleasing Kevin Ryan for him to allow her to take her chance. And I think it's worth a chance as well. At the time of this recording, best odds on offer are 13-2, that's each way. The offer is 3 places, but as I said in last week's bulletin, because they mess around moving the place term, we'll judge the place terms by basically the median place terms that are on offer just before the off of the race, really. That's a little bit of a technique we have from my days as an SP returner, where we used to determine prices and such. It's the best way, really, to get a proper feel for the market when it's really hot just before the off. So 13-2 is my suggestion. It's with William Hill, 888, but Victor, Parry Match. That's the first choice of the day. GLENLAUREL, Ascot 150. And then our one and only suggestion at York on the Knavesmire in the 240 is in the 6 furlong Sky Bet Dash handicap. It's a valuable race, really good competitive hard gnarled sprinters going for this. 15 of them run, and there are lots of very familiar names on show, and they include the possible favourite Silver Samurai, who was about 5-1 shot last time I looked, trained by Marco Botti. He's won at Haydock and Newbury in May, very impressive as well, and he wasn't at all disgraced, 11th in the Wokingham at Royal Ascot last time, so this represents a little bit of a step back in class for him. A very progressive filly this season has been Gale Force Meyer, who is trained by Michael Dance and won over the course and distance last month. She's now £5 higher, and she's since been a really good third in a Group 3 race back over the course and distance 2 weeks ago. So she loves this track, and another one who will be knocking on the door, I suspect. One that I very nearly selected is John Butler's runner, Nationwide. This one, with a couple of all-weather wins in the spring, made its debut on the turf recently at Haydock. It finished 3rd to Silver Samurai. It was 8 weeks ago, actually. Its first run on turf, and it came home well. And I think now they've got the feel for this horse, there's every chance that it could easily step forward and possibly even reverse form with Silver Samurai. And one horse who seems to run just about every week is Tracy Waggart's Gathenfar, who's tough as teak, he really is. He won here over 5 furlong 2 weeks ago, and then was second of 21 here earlier on in the season in June, but is now £14 higher than that run over the 6 furlongs in June. But he will give his all. He's a very tough and genuine horse. My choice, though, is Venturous, another northern trained horse. This one trained at Thirsk by David and Nicola Barron. Nicola on the licence as well now, but David is the one we all know, of course. And Asheen Orr, the Irish jockey, is going to be on board. Now, I'm sure many of you know Venturous really well because he's been around for about 7 seasons. He's now a 9-year-old, tough and talented. He holds his form really well. He's a winner of 13 of his 69 races, 8 of them on the all-weather, 5 of them on the turf. He's actually rated £10 lower on turf, and he has this tendency, which we all know, to be a bit slow away, and he often gives away ground at the start, but he comes home strong. And this is what happened last time out. He was running at Ascot, 50 to 1 shot, 5 furlong handicap, which is a little bit sharp for him. He stayed on really strongly. I thought this was a real good sighter for this race because he was 6 of 20 behind Mountain Peak. And as far as I'm concerned, he's hinted that he's ready to go very well back at the 6 furlongs once again. And I think conditions are absolutely ideal for him. The good to firm ground is his preferred choice on turf. The other thing is that if you cast your mind back 12 months ago to this very race, he came from last to first to win at odds of 33 to 1. And that was off a £2 higher mark than he's going to carry on Saturday. So I think he really does have a lot going for him. Don't expect him to be prominent early. Hopefully, Ashinor will find the gaps, and this horse will be staying on at the finish. Question is whether he'll be able to get through and produce that flying finish he produced last year, which produced a very big prize success. Horses for courses, as they say, is an old adage, and it does work many times. This horse 10 to 1 each way. And funnily enough, the only exception standout, as I can see, is Skybet, the sponsors, who seem a bit nervous of him, having had him won the race and their money last year. They're only going 7 to 1, so they don't want to know. Everybody else is 10 to 1, generally 5 places. Again, we'll look at the median. If many of them are offering 6, that will be the basis on which we'll be calculating our figures. So Venturous is the choice there in the 240 at York. Let's hope the old boy runs a good race. Now on to the third selection, and this is a really, really tough 22 runner, 7 furlong heritage handicap sponsored by Moët Chandon and due off at Ascot at 3 o'clock, good to firm ground. Now, as you know, a lot of tipsters, they like to put their selections up at short odds and in small fields, but I always make it hard for myself by going for these big field hot handicaps where theoretically everything has an equal chance. Of course, that isn't the case, but that's the theory behind handicapping. But I just love the challenge of trying to figure it all out. And it really is a bit like a crossword puzzle. And that's what's kept me interested in the game for so many years. And a lot of these horses we know very well indeed, including Jumbie, who's going to be prominent in the betting. I tipped him a couple of weeks ago when he ran really well to be third in the Bunbury Cup, to bless him. And these two old rivals are going to take each other on. Bless him, another to come from last to first. He got all the breaks and all the gaps at the right time, but it's rare that he manages to achieve that 2 races running. Jamie Spencer, I'm sure, probably the best hold-up jockey of them all, when things fall right for him, will be looking to follow up that success. Another horse who likes to come from off the pace is an old boy, Chief of Chiefs for Charlie Fellows, and he's been hinting that his turn is not going to be too far away. Other older horses that, of course, you can never rule them out if things fall right for them, the likes of Accidental Agent, who's been a Group 1 winner and is so classy. He's able to compete still at group level. All Barn is another one that wouldn't be winning out of turn, and Documenting has shown some signs of life as well of late. So those are 3 others, and you definitely can't rule out Dark Shift, the Charles Hills trained runner who won the Royal Hunt Cup here last time out. He's dropping back to 7 furlongs, and he's only gone up £6 rather. So I think he is likely to be very much on the premises. You've got the likes of Fresh, who's always in these big races as well, and an improving 4-year-old called Air to Air for George Bowie. So plenty of horses with chances, but after a lot of consideration, I promise you, I'm going with another horse trained up in the north. I'm really interested in the northern horses today. And that actually is a horse called Northern Express, trained by Michael Dodds, who I think is a superb trainer of sprinters. Graham Lee is a great jockey, of course, has won a Grand National, won an Ascot Gold Cup, and just about so many other great races in the game. And Northern Express is a very progressive 4-year-old. It's a winner of 4 of 17 and has been placed a further 7 times. Really consistent horse. It won a York 7 furlong handicap in June off 88, and then was second last time out, just beaten a neck, finishing really fast off a mark of 92. It just seems to me that Northern Express is improving. It's one that is seemingly going from strength to strength every time it runs. Now, I suspect that one of the reasons for it being a big price on Saturday is that its only previous run at Ascot saw it finish last of 8. That was in September last year, but that was too bad to be true. It just was never going. Maybe it had a bad journey down to the track. Maybe it just had an off day, but I'm prepared to completely overlook that and base my selection on what it's been doing of late. And the trip and the ground are both in its favour. And Michael Dodds has a level stakes profit to his runners at Ascot. So that's also a sign that he does target the Ascot races with his better sprinters. And I just don't quite understand the odds on offer. I'm very happy to be able to say that this one is bigger than I would have offered. 25 to 1. And that's offered each way for 6 places at the moment with Betfred and Boyle Sports. It'll be interesting to see where the other firms go once betting really hots up for this race Friday evening into Saturday morning and early afternoon. So I'm expecting Northern Express to be right bang there, and hopefully it'll run a big race for us. And who knows, it might just pop up at a pony. Who knows, even bigger. We'll see, 25 to 1. And then to my final choice, the Ascot 445 is a mile handicap for 3-year-olds and upwards, rated up to 105. So there's some good horses in this. 10 runners on the good to firm ground. The clear favourite here is John Gosden's Saga. Now, you remember this 3-year-old because, of course, this was the catalyst to the big bust-up between John Gosden and Frankie Dettori when he was second in the Britannia Handicap, the race after Stradivarius got beat in the Gold Cup. And it did appear, even, you know, let's be fair, Frankie didn't ride a good race on Stradivarius in the Gold Cup, but these things happen. But his head didn't seem to be in the right place. When he rode Saga half an hour later, he was very sullen and out of it down at the start. The horse was not in the right position and eventually just got denied. And of course, it denied the Queen, a royal runner, in the Platinum Jubilee at Royal Ascot. And I think that was the straw that broke the camel's back as far as Gosden was concerned. And he gave Dettori that enforced sabbatical. Good to see them getting on better now. But I think Saga was the one that really caused the problems, even more so, I think, than Stradivarius, because 2 races running is just a little bit too much. This is a very progressive horse, but it has gone up a lot in the weights. That's why they've got Benoit de la Sayette on board, claiming 5. It will not be at all far away, that's for sure, and it certainly deserves a win. I'm not going to go through all the runners in this race. I'm just going to tell you the one I fancy is called Random Harvest. It's trained by Ed Walker, mount of the up-and-coming young apprentice rider Safi Osborne. She claims £3 now, the daughter of the great jump jockey, one of the most stylish jockeys of the last few decades and more, Jamie Osborne, of course. And she's learned a lot from her dad. And this is a horse who is progressive. This 4-year-old filly, Random Harvest, and she's only had the 8 runs, and she's really improved since she's stepped up to a mile and has met good to firm ground. That seems to be the making of her. She's done really well this summer, running at Ascot, both on the straight course and the round course. She was beaten a neck at the Royal Meeting when second of 20 to Rising Star in the Kensington Palace Handicap. She hit the front too soon. I think there's absolutely no doubt about that. She was in front maybe a furlong and a half from home and just got nailed. And then Safi got it absolutely right last time out 2 weeks ago, coming fast and late to beat System by a neck over this course and distance. And she's only gone up £4. So there could be more to come. So this 4-year-old against the 3-year-old Saga, I think, especially when fillies hit form this time of year, going into the end of the summer and into the autumn, it can often be a job catching up with them. And I expect Random Harvest to go really well. Now, at the time of this recording, late Friday morning, only one firm have been brave enough to go up and give us a guide to the price, and that is William Hill. So good on them for sticking their neck above the parapet, being prepared to take a chance. They're offering 13 to 2 each way. It may be that we find there are bigger odds available as the markets develop. So do remember to shop around. So random harvest each way. My choice for the Ascot 445, and that's the last of my 4 for today. Of course, just to remind you, we're going to be moving much of our tipping to our premium service in a few weeks' time, and there'll be much more about that in my forthcoming bulletins. It's something to really look forward to because we're going to be live and interactive, and we'll be able to give you the odds actually as well as seeing them. I'll be able to take your questions, and it should be a lot of fun as well. And we're really, really looking forward to that. But we will be continuing at Sportsbet with a few selections free on this service. We're going to guarantee that going forward for the foreseeable future. So for the time being, from me, Paul Alster, sweltering here in Tuscany, probably going to weigh in a little bit light when I get back into my normal studio in a couple of weeks' time. I'm going to say goodbye. Enjoy the weekend and enjoy your racing. And let's hope these 4 give us a bit of a shout. Bye-bye for now.